It's working right now. This Hangout on air is live, so it should be on right now. Is it on? Yes, it's live. Okay, so tonight, late night, it's 12:59 a.m. here. Here with me today, special guests T-Biz and Joe Volcanic from Volcanic's Playground. We are here to talk about Star Wars, the original Episode 4, 5, and 6, the awesomeness of Star Wars, and how groundbreaking those films truly were. So that's what we're here to talk about, and how it's like affected us, and how much we like it and stuff like that. So, all right, what should we start off with? The basic question, I guess, for you guys is between Episode 4, 5, and 6, which one is your favorite?
Ooh.
For me, I'd have to say I don't know if it's a tough choice between them all actually. I have
Yeah.
favorite parts in each one, so but I think I'm more partial to Empire Strikes Back because I
Mm-hmm.
do love Jabba the Hutt and all that stuff
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, I would have to say Empire myself. I mean, yeah, like Joe, I love them all, but Empire pretty much just because I don't know, there's a lot of cool, wicked stuff that goes on in Empire, and it just ends on such a sour, messed up note too.
Oh, okay, so for me also, for a long time, I really liked Empires. Why is that? All three of us. Why is that? That we agree that we really really like Empires. Maybe give it a slight edge over the other ones.
I think it's for me. It's because the original Star Wars was more of a movie, to get to know the characters, build
Hmm.
connections with the characters, and then
Yeah.
we're finally getting to see them be their full, almost their full potential and growing and that movie was great, and it had a lot of stuff that the original didn't have, like AT-ATs, big scenes, big vehicles, and new worlds to see that wasn't on the other one.
Right.
You know, I remember we saw a lot of desert, and then the Star Destroyer, Death Star in the original.
Well, we were just saying that the Star Wars, the first one, was groundbreaking in so many
Yeah,
ways, like in film, the way it was done. They had to invent, like you were saying, they had to invent how they filmed it and stuff because no one had really done it before, and they really took it to another level. With
yeah,
Empires, like, I kind of feel like after you do Star Wars, what do you do? And I feel like they really had to go almost for like shock value. They had to do everything crazier, wilder, bigger. Do you guys feel that way for Empires? Is that why it's more memorable because it's more shocking?
Well, I
I
know on
think,
one of the documentaries that Irvin Kershner didn't want to do it, but like his agent or somebody was like, "Yeah, you need to do it, not be stupid." He didn't want to direct it because he was like, "How do you top Star Wars?"
Right. How do you stop? How do you top Star Wars? Exactly. Exactly. That's a huge weight on your shoulders, but it sounds like they did a really good job. What do you guys think about the direction that they took? Starting off with the snow battle at Hoth.
and then Luke getting his butt kicked by a Wampa, and then later
True.
saved by Han getting stuffed in the belly of a tauntaun. I mean,
So
that's
memorable.
pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
and that really wasn't even supposed to be a part of the movie. Remember that? Because Luke got in a car accident and he had the scar on his face, so they needed to explain it. So they added the
Mm-hmm.
Wampa scene in later. So a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
stuff was just add-ins that actually are very memorable parts. I mean,
Yeah.
spot creativeness.
Yeah, because that's honestly not even integral to the main story for Empires. That's not that important there. But and then he goes to meet. I mean, in part one, he was learning from Ben Obi-Wan, right?
Hmm.
So in Empires, he's learning from someone even better than Obi-Wan.
I
So
would
I
say
Oh
mean,
yeah,
so, yeah.
yeah, and then the twist ending where of course Vader says I am your father. So they even added a twist ending back then when twist endings weren't even that common.
yeah, with a
That
cliffhanger.
Yeah, with a cliffhanger. Yeah.
and we find out that Vader's human too, or somewhat,
Oh,
you know.
that's true. That's true because up until then we had no idea what was underneath that. That is very true. Yeah, he could have been all machine, who knows, or he could have been an alien. I mean, who
And
freaking
that
knew?
and that was what was great about Star Wars too, because I mean, I really didn't even know when I was a kid if a stormtrooper was an android of some kind or if it was a human, or
Yeah,
you really didn't know.
Yeah.
not
You
for
didn't know
sure. Not
anything.
for
You don't know
sure.
what Jawa was. Everything
Yeah.
was a mystery. Where does Yoda come from? I love all the mystery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that is true. So yeah, in the end. for the first Star Wars, they have that climactic battle on Death Star, but for Empires, they freeze, they freeze Captain Solo, and then you have a one-on-one sword duel, basically lightsaber duel with Vader and Luke, where Vader just uses one arm to fight Luke most of the time. You know, how awesome was that for you guys? And he gets his hand chopped off and everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like he's basically, if you watch that fight, it's kind of funny because I remember when I was like in my early 20s, I'd watch the VHS versions, and before they before they added all that newfangled stuff in it,
Right.
and I would watch it again, and I'd be like, man, I remember just thinking, wow, it's just Vader's just toying around with Luke. He's not even really kicking his ass. You know?
Right.
He's just kind of just pushing him around and poking and prodding him. He's really not going to his full potential. You know, he's not whacking at him. He's not, he's just really just toying with him and just shoving him around pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah, we get the impression that if he wanted to kill him, he totally could have.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. How cool is that? But still, we gotta still give props to the original. Like we all said, we like Empires a lot, but we still like the original, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's so many good things about Star Wars, man. That's like, yeah, just it's unending, man. You got the cantina, you got the temple, you got just everything about that whole movie, man, from start to finish. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But if you want to, like, the biggest chocolate bar of the whole series, you got 3 different chocolate bars, and yeah, Empire, man, because it's got the nougat,
It's got the nugget there, yeah. Well, one scene that I never quite was sure about was on Dagobah when Luke encounters Vader, but it's not really Vader, but it's like a test of some sort.
Yeah.
And he cuts off the head, the mask comes off, and then it's Luke's face, right?
Yep.
What was that? I didn't really understand that. And then, Yoda was like, "You failed the test." Do you guys understand that scene? Because I don't get that scene. It was cool, and it was scary as a kid, but looking back on it, I don't really.
That it was Luke fighting the evil within himself. That he can become Darth Vader as easy as his father did.
Mm-hmm.
If he uses violence. Remember, he told him to leave the lightsaber behind, but he chose to bring a weapon in there, and therefore, when you bring a weapon in there, he brought the evil in with him.
I see.
So it's more like, it's the more of the Jedi way. I think it's a way to see the evil within oneself, you know what I mean? To recognize it and be able to defeat it, you know what I mean, without violence or so,
No, that's a good point, because when Yoda was like, "Leave the lightsaber," and then Vader shows up, I was like, oh, if he had left the lightsaber and listened to Yoda, he would have been screwed. Yoda tricked him there, that's what I thought. But okay, so let's talk about Return of the Jedi then. Now, and it was actually a while after Empires that they made Return, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about that? Okay, first of all, I saw Empires in the movie theater. I didn't get to see the first Star Wars, right? And then, of course, I saw Return at the movie theater. What about you guys?
I saw Star Wars, the first movie was the very first movie I ever saw in the movie theater. So it was groundbreaking to me because back then I only had a black and white TV, crappy sound back then in the 70s. All the 70s TV only had like Jason and the Argonauts and, all that kind of stuff, that was cool. But
Right.
Seeing Star Wars come out, and as soon as that ship started flying over the screen and hearing that rumbling and that sound, I was hooked, you know what I mean? I never heard or saw anything like it of that time and age. I mean, you really had to grow up and see it that way, you know what I mean? Today, people can look at it and say, oh, wow, cool, because you've seen 100 movies with that THX sound in it, and all these new inventions, like Photoshop and everything that George Lucas invented to create Star Wars really blew our minds. It was like we were talking about Terminator, remember, with the liquid steel?
Yeah.
Groundbreaking, but imagine if Terminator invented more things, liquid this and liquid. I mean, that just went nuts. Like Star Wars was a lot of inventions to be hit on at once,
Right.
Just one thing.
Today, liquid metal, that's not impressive or anything. But back then, when we first saw it, it was like, whoa, what is
Yeah,
that thing? It's a machine. It's like, how does that work? You know?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Star
So
Wars, so many inventions, just so many at once. And Empire, I thought, held up the bundle great because I mean the movement of most of those ships and the AT-ATs and stuff I thought was superb. I mean, look, to me it was believable as a kid. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
100%. And each of those movies had such groundbreaking material. So, but I just saw Star Wars in the movie theater was my first movie, and then my very first drive-in movie was The Empire Strikes Back, which that
that's
was unique too.
crazy. That's
So that
crazy.
blew my mind in two different ways.
Hmm.
And then Return of the Jedi I just saw at a normal movie theater. I was older at the time.
Yeah.
Uh, it was still cool to watch. I loved the Jabba scenes. There was a lot of adult parts that I got into because I was older at the time. But um, the first two movies will always hit me the hardest.
Right, right. What about you, T-Biz?
It was Star Wars. I don't remember seeing it, but I've always been told that I was taken to it as a baby.
Okay, okay, that's a baby.
Because I was born '76, May of '76.
Okay, so
So I
it's
would
in
have
your
been,
subconscious.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, before Empire, nothing but Mego Spider-Man and uh, and Star Wars figures. Because I remember I had the Luke and the pilot,
Yeah.
and I had a R2D2 and I had a Vader, which I told you on some of my other videos that I used to chop off Vader's head. And when I was little, and probably up until I was like 4 or 5, that was when they stopped buying me Vaders. When they're like, "You're getting you this last one, so don't chop his head off." Because I would get his head in between the lid of a tackle box that I kept my toys in, and smack it down, and
Oh my gosh.
pretty much do a guillotine move because I knew Vader was bad. And
Oh, that's why.
and then and then I never saw Empire in the theater, but I had a record book of it,
Hmm.
and I had action figures and stuff, and you kind of from the record book and stuff, and I think I had a pop-up book too for it, like a pop-up book, and
Yeah.
so I never saw that in the theater. And then the next one that I saw in the theater was Jedi, and I was like an older kid, but not much older, still like in elementary school.
Yeah.
And my dad, because we were talking about Star Wars or something. This might have been after we saw Force Awakens, or might have been before that. I can't remember. But me and my dad were just talking about it and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember you hiding in your seat when we went to go see Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
Probably when they're in Jabba's palace and stuff like
Oh
that."
yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember that, but that's what he's telling me. I don't remember hiding in
It
the seat, but that was pretty. That's a pretty freaky opening part when they're
it is.
they open up and you can see Bomar Monk like crawling around in the background,
Mm.
and they and you got the Gamorrean guards and all that stuff, and
It was kind of scary for sure. Yeah.
it's intense.
Yeah.
But I think I ended up watching Empire on a dubbed VHS tape after I saw Jedi. So
Okay.
finally, but you kind of already knew the story by then, anyways, because I had older cousins and uncles, and plus we played with the toys and had storybooks and record books and stuff like that. So
Right. Right.
you kind of already knew it, but didn't know it at the same time. But yeah, and I remember another thing too was we used to go to the shopping mall, and this is like Barton Creek Square Mall in Austin in the '80s, and they would have like a Radio Shack or like a TV store, and they'd always be playing Star Wars. And I remember being little at the mall and just going and just standing there and watching Star Wars like the whole time, while my parents shopped, or going in there and just watching it and just being like, "Oh, Star Wars is on," and
Yeah.
freaking out. And also I remember too when I was little that whenever they would show the 20th Century Fox thing on TV, I always thought Star Wars was going to come on.
You know what? Same here. To me, that was a Star Wars theme song right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, going on to
What about
Return of the Jedi, right? Okay, so the first one set the pace. It was just amazing to see those outer space scenes. You never seen a space movie like that until the first Star Wars. Empires, they did lots of crazy stuff, lots of memorable scenes that blew you away. For Return of the Jedi, seemed more like now they were getting the marketing aspect down really, really well, and that movie felt like a movie basically that the whole family can enjoy, the kid especially, but also the parents can enjoy. Do you guys think the same way about that?
For Jedi?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe so. I would think so because yeah, like because by then you had like my parents had already seen the Star Wars and stuff, and they had grown older. I'd obviously grown older. We all have grown older, so I could see that. And then they throw in the Ewoks and stuff, and I don't remember hating Ewoks, but it's weird if you like read about stuff and do research. There are some people that hated the Ewoks pretty hardcore back then.
Well, maybe it was like the Jar Jar Binks of back then.
Pretty much, I would think so. Yeah.
Hmm. So
I didn't hate.
what about you, Joe? Since you were a little bit older when you saw Return, did you feel cheated?
No, no, no. I kind of was cool because I remember watching the. I don't know if any of you guys caught the Star Wars Christmas special on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Not when it was out, no.
Yeah, not yeah.
Well, they portrayed the Wookiees living in an Ewok village, so it was kind of cool to see the Ewoks in an Ewok village. I mean, it was just that was kind of a neat thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, for me, it actually answered a lot of little questions and stuff too was in there, but
And
especially with
also
Boba Fett.
the two Ewok movies that they did.
I remember watching those.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Droids and the droids.
Caravan of Courage.
Yeah. What was the monster called? Loki?
I think, yeah, I believe so, something like that.
Or Locally or something like that. Yeah.
There's some fugly looking characters in there too. Yeah.
My favorite one was Teak.
I remember Teak. Yeah.
Teak was awesome. Teak was a little white Ewok-looking thing with the big ears that could run in light speed.
Yeah.
I have that figure actually.
They made that?
Yeah, they did. It's a Disney box set from before Disney owned Star Wars.
Okay.
It's pretty rare. I think only 30,000 made or something like that.
Oh wow.
Wow. Well, yeah, no, I definitely kind of felt like for Return of the Jedi, like maybe Princess Leia, make the dads kind of happy, and then
Made everybody happy.
made everybody, and of course Ewoks are 100% for the kids. Like you were saying, Jabba's palace was kind of intense. You start off with something intense like that, and then by the time you get to the Ewoks, you're really getting into it, and you're more relieved as a kid, I think, and then. I mean, it was just exciting. So there's a little bit of romance there as well, right?
Yeah.
With Han and Leia.
You got to grow up in that movie a little bit too, because you see Yoda pass away too. So.
That's right. That's right. So in a way, that was almost like for me, like a rites of passage movie, from going from grade school to like a little bit older,
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. So overall, compared to, I don't know, like some of the more recent stuff, what do you think is the main difference here?
I like the progression of the characters throughout Star Wars originals. We saw Luke, a good long time trying to be what he's supposed to become, you know what I mean? He did a lot of training. It didn't come over one movie, you know what I mean? It took 3 movies for him to learn how to construct a lightsaber, 2 movies for him to learn how to do a Jedi mind trick. Just you watch this progression of him just growing from this farm boy into something
Right.
great. You know what I mean?
Right. True.
As we're watching other people fall, from greatness, down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you think, T-Biz, compared to some of the newer movies today? How do you think it measures up?
I think the only problem I would have is like there's a lot of things that I love about the prequels, but the acting is not the best on some of the prequels, whether it's Hayden Christensen or Natalie Portman and stuff like that. Like so some of the acting is not superb on that, but like as far as like I don't really have too much of a problem with the acting on like the old movies and the new movies. But I agree with Joe. It's like you got to see a good progression of Luke from like a whiny farm boy to like a budding like rebel warrior and stuff, an Empire who gets the crap kicked out of him and gets his hand cut off until where we see him in Jedi, where he's a full he's pretty much almost a Jedi master, just about like a total Jedi, wearing the sleek black uniform,
right,
the cool brown cloak, and he's got the green saber, and I was like, it's like too cool. Like by that time, it's like wow,
True. Well, also, since he is wearing the all black, and by that time we know that Vader is his dad, it kind of works with that. But it also makes you go, well, is he gonna join his dad? Is he gonna be turned? Maybe you knew that he wasn't, but there was a little bit of that danger involved. Maybe.
I probably didn't even think about that. That probably didn't cross my mind when I was a kid.
Okay, maybe not. Yeah. So anyway, I think overall that's we covered a lot of grounds there. Just talking about the first 3 original Star Wars films, and yeah, it was just another era, right, guys?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Definitely.
in closing, anything else to add, gentlemen?
I don't know. I think like when we're talking about all the old movies, those old movies pretty much like shaped all of us as Star Wars fans because we are who we are, all 3 of us as Star Wars fans because of those movies. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's like it's what we grew up with.
Right.
You know,
Right.
all 3 of us. So you know, it's like it's the foundation to everything pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think all the movies should be respected for what they are, but we all got to keep in mind that comparing movies is impossible. I mean, it's like we said, like, with the inventions and the creations that went through each one brings you unique things to the plate. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like comparing apples and oranges, that you'll never ever get an answer. You know, they're
Yeah.
all great in their own little special way, and they all fail in their own special little way to some people. But other than that, I think they're great movies. I think they'll always be timeless. You know, they're definitely. I don't think Star Wars is going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, there you have it, folks. That is our mythology for today. And thank you for listening, and thank you to my guests. And take care, folks.
Thank you.